It was a steel titan, a giant of the American fleet, tasked with a critical mission in the First World War. But in March of 1918, the USS Cyclops and the 306 souls aboard sailed into the horizon and simply vanished from the face of the earth. No distress call, no wreckage, no explanation. Just a mystery that remains the single greatest loss of life in U.S. naval history outside of combat. The USS Cyclops was one of the biggest ships of its day, a 542-foot-long collier. Her job was to haul bulk cargo to fuel the war effort. On her final voyage, she was loaded with over 10,000 tons of dense manganese, or essential for making steel. In command was Captain George Worley, an eccentric and reportedly tyrannical officer who was known to rule his ship with an iron fist. He was a man who made few friends, and his actions on this final voyage would only deepen the mystery. The voyage was already strange. Despite being loaded with coal, Captain Worley made an unscheduled stop in Barbados, claiming he didn't have enough fuel to reach Baltimore. After leaving port on March 4th, the USS Cyclops was last sighted by another vessel the following day. The weather was calm. She was steaming steadily north, and then ... nothing. She was due in Baltimore on March 13th. That day came and went. The silence from the sea was absolute. A frantic search of the Atlantic revealed no wreckage, no lifeboats, not even an oil slick. How could a 542-foot ship just disappear? As the search for the USS Cyclops continued, suspicion began to fall on the ship's controversial captain. George Worley had a reputation as a hard man, a stern disciplinarian who ruled the seas with an iron fist. Stories circulated of his volatile temper, and his crew quickly learned to walk a tight ship. He was known to sentence sailors to the brig for minor infractions and flog them with a heavy leather strap. Some believed he pushed his men too hard, driving them to mutiny, which may have led to the ship's demise. But others point to the ship itself. The Cyclops was already 14 years old at the start of the war, and a new investigation revealed serious flaws in her construction. The rivets holding the ship together were dangerously corroded, and the steel hull was severely weakened. It was a ticking time bomb waiting to explode, and when a series of violent storms hit the region, it wouldn't take much to send the ship down. The theory is supported by eyewitness accounts of the Cyclops entering a huge storm just days before she vanished. The men in the next ship over saw the Cyclops sailing straight into a wall of thick fog. It could have been the last anyone ever saw her. But if a storm did sink the Cyclops, why was there no wreckage? Storms don't typically cause ships to vanish without a trace. Most modern ships are built with voids, hollow spaces in the hull designed to keep the ship afloat in the event of a breach. If the Cyclops had sprung a leak, these voids would have kept her above the waves long enough for a rescue party to arrive. But in the case of the USS Cyclops, the ship likely broke up in such a violent storm that the pieces were lost forever, leaving behind no evidence of the disaster. But it was wartime. And in a world of shadowy U-boats and hidden mines, it wasn't beyond the realm of possibility that someone wanted the Cyclops gone. Captain Worley himself was born in Germany and was openly pro-German, leading some to believe he may have conspired with the enemy. To make matters worse, the Cyclops was carrying cargo that the Allies desperately needed. If sabotage was the cause, it would explain why the ship was attacked. The problem is, there is zero evidence to support the sabotage theory. Only rumors of Captain Worley's shady past. In the end, with no wreckage and no definitive proof, the U.S. Navy could only list the official fate of the USS Cyclops and her 306 men as unaccounted for. The official report may be closed, but for us, the search for answers is just beginning. There are so many stories like this: lost ships, vanished explorers, ancient puzzle stew, waiting to be uncovered in the archives. If you're like us and believe that every mystery deserves a second look, then subscribe and join our expedition team. We have a lot more ground to cover. Thanks for watching. We'll see you on the next expedition.